Yo, 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 what's up? You already know what it is. We're back with another podcast episode. And you already know it's Equip the Podcast. You know the saying, stay ready so you have to get ready. So hope you are having a great day, evening, night, morning, whenever you're listening or watching this video of this podcast episode that we got for you today. And I know it's been at least 2 weeks. I had a lot going on, me and Thomas and things like that. So we're back on another episode. We're gonna have some more fresh content coming out consistently. But we had to take a 2 week break. Sometimes you just need a break, man. You know what I mean? You just need a break. So I just wanted just a quick devotion. A quick little um just a little pick me up. It's something to think about, something to dwell on, and things like that. And I'm just gonna read a quick verse, elaborate on it, talk about it. Get you guys to think, and then pretty much it. It's not gonna be a very long episode, but I just want this to be, more of a quick devotion, a quick, lesson, a quick encouragement type thing, and things to think about and stuff like that. So, well, without a further ado, let's just get on into it, right? So, let me share my screen real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then we can get right to it. You hear? Hold on. Okay, so I wonder you can. All right, cool. All right. So real quick, I'm gonna read a Bible verse in Colossians 3:22 through 24. Okay. All right. So in verse 22, Paul is writing this letter to the church of in Colossians, and he says, "Bond servants, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, not by the way of eye service or people pleasers, but with sincerity of heart, fearing the Lord. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ." Okay, so pretty much, okay, so he's writing a letter to the church of Colossae. They got a few things going on, and that's going on in the church. So Paul is writing a letter to them. And in chapter 3, he talks about first, putting on your new self, like when you belong to Jesus Christ, when you first give your life to Christ, that you don't keep, your old self. You put on the new self, which is you in Jesus Christ. And then where is it? Like 18, let's talk about rule for Christian households, how Christian households should be and things like that. So towards the end of the 3, he's talking about bond servants and serving the people that the masters and things that you serve under, right? So I want to kind of talk about this because I think it's something really important that we can learn from it. Because I think sometimes that we could be in a season where we're waiting for God to do something, or we're waiting for a new job opportunity, or we're waiting for this, or you're waiting for that promotion, or you're waiting to finish school, or you're waiting for people to notice you, you're waiting to get on, you might have started a business, and you're just waiting on God, but you feel like everything's just going slow. Or you could be working at a place that you currently don't like, and you want to be elevated to somewhere higher, or you want to be progress and things like that, but you can get to that point in your waiting period where it's like you start to get lazy, you're starting to slip up on your work, you're starting to come in late all the time, you're starting to get yelled at, you're starting to get real sloppy, all this, that, and the third, right? And I think this is important because because what Paul is talking about here, he's like, look, like when you are like when you're under somebody's like authority, like your boss or your supervisor, or somebody you work for and things like that, like he said, like, do obey everything, like obey and be, and do all the right work, not because it's only for them, but do it as you're doing it for me. You know what I'm saying? Verse 22, he says, bond servants, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, not by the way of eye service or as people pleasers, right? So don't just do it just to be a people pleaser per se, right? Or eye service, or just like, oh, catch me, look at me doing stuff, right? Or anything like that, but do it with a sincerity of heart, fearing the Lord, fearing meaning honoring the Lord. So every work that we do at work, right? We should be doing it like we're doing it for Christ, right? So if you're coming to work on time sincerely, if you're working hard to the best of your ability, you're grinding, you're doing everything out right now, you do it the same way that you would do it if you was doing it for the Lord, right? And then he says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. So everything that we're doing it for God. So even you, the way you work or the way you do certain things at your current job right now, or organization you might work for, or whatever that you or business that you're doing, things like that, like work at it like you're working for the Lord. Because ultimately, that's what we're doing. As if you're a follower of Christ, that you're doing everything that you do, everything that who you represent, who you're being under, you're still representing Christ. So everything you're doing it as for the Lord, not just merely your supervisor who is man, but as for the Lord. Right. In verse 24, he says, "On that from the you will receive the inheritance of your reward." Right. So the inheritance, like I said, and this is not a verse where okay, this is not a verse where it's like, okay, if you work do the things you're supposed to do, you work hard to do it for the Lord, and He's just gonna bless you like financial. That's not no prosperity gospel type of thing. But you will be rewarded for the hard work and things that you do. And that could probably look in various different ways. It could be a different financial thing, right? That's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but it's not no genie give or take type of relationship when it comes to God. God's just rewarding you and honoring you. And honestly, your biggest rewards will be in heaven eternally. Like that's where our biggest reward is going to be at. Or you might get elevated to that job, or you might get a promotion, or you might get a new job opportunity and things like that, right? But we need to do the stuff that we're doing because we're doing it for the Lord, right? That we're honoring and doing the people and help serving the businesses that we're working for, or the boss that we're working under, or whatever business that you're trying to keep up with, or waiting for a new job that you've been looking for, or waiting for the new school that you're trying to get into. Like we have to pay attention not only to the future tense of what we're trying to get, but also focus on the now. What can we be better doing? Like what can we do better as far as our job and where we at right now? Like what like how well we can do where we're content at. Like are we slacking at work? Are we slacking looking for a job? Or or doing the different stuff right now and preparing yourself? Are you slacking when it comes to your business and stuff like that? You've been lazy because things haven't been popping up. Are you slacking in these areas? Are you doing it just for social media's approval or man's approval, or what other or your classmates or people you graduated with because they got certain things you don't? Are you doing it for them? Or are you doing these things because you're doing it for God? That's a big thing to think about. And I think we easily all can slip up and get into that. Like, look, I'm even speaking to myself. I can the same way. I could be slacking and doing stuff at work, being late and not doing things like I'm doing it for God. I'm just doing it just to please man, just good enough. But if you're doing that, then you're slacking on God. Really? This verse you're slacking really on the Lord. Not even just on your supervisor or your boss or yourself. You're really slacking on God. Like, you're being lazy towards him. You're not working as hard for the Lord. You're just cutting corners and things like that. And the thing is, I get it because sometimes you can get frustrated, right? Sometimes we're tired of being in these situations and it's hard and it's difficult and it's not always easy all the time, right? And right, it, we all deal with it. I've dealt with it myself. So, but the thing is, we have to learn how to have a sense of contentment, which I know in today's society, that's a voodoo thing. You can't be content with nothing. You always got to do X, Y, and Z and things like that. And then and God will always put you in a mode sometimes where it's like you don't want to be content. But at certain times, He will have you in a place where you need to be content where you're at, and you need to be busting your butt doing what you can do right now until you get to that point, until you're ready for the next step, right? Because sometimes we don't do that. We like to always just think about what we don't have, or think about the next thing we need to do, or look at everybody else. Well, no, we need to be content and looking at what we have, working to the best ability in whatever job, whatever situations that you have right now. I'm not saying if you're in a super toxic situation that you need to just stay, right? But what I'm saying is, even if you're at a job that you don't like right now, do it like you're doing it for the world. Still work hard while you're there. Still continue to grow and to learn and to do all the things right now, because you never know if you're working at with your supervisor and you're doing it as you're doing it for God. You never know who's watching you, who will give you opportunities, and God will create open doors for you, right? Like we have like, and I think it will also help us better our wait process and help us to have patience and have faith, knowing that God is still working, knowing that he has your best interest at heart, and we're waiting for a good purpose. And being patient helps builds us up and builds character. So we have to learn how to have a level of contentment and learn that in our job situations, even if we don't like the certain job or supervisor or coworker, or you're waiting for this school thing, or your business is trying to pop off with this business and things like that, like still grind, still have faith in God that he is going to help you and work out your situation and things like that. But until then, do the work as your supervisor and do it like you're doing it for God. Not just for service of men, but for the Lord, because that's who we're ultimately doing it for. Because when you represent Christ, you're representing Him everywhere. And when you represent Christ, everything that we do, every action that we make is representing the Lord, right? And that includes our workspace. So when we're working, work for Him. That could be a good mentality for us to think about. Like, you know what, I'm at work. Like, I'm not going to be cut off. I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to slack. I'm going to give my best and things like that, because I'm not just doing it because of a supervisor, because of a CEO, because someone's giving me a check. I'm doing it because I'm doing it for the Lord. And ultimately, I'm serving the Lord when I do this, right? And I will receive an inheritance of some sort. Like, He will help me persevere, and He will help elevate me to some sort of extent of a level, and help me, get to wherever goals I'm trying to get to, right? But we have to have a different mindset when it comes to being at work and being content and doing the groundwork and doing the hard stuff. Because I know sometimes we can look at other people and be like, dang, they got all this stuff and I haven't got this yet, or I'm still trying to get this business up and it still ain't growing, or dang, I've been in school forever, and like all these different scenarios. But we never look at what those other people who had those things had to go through to get the stuff that they got, right? Like, comparison kills so much confidence and takes away what the Lord does and His timing and things like that, because we're getting impatient looking at everybody else. We just need to be content with what we have. Be content where we're at right now. Work your butt off right where you're at. And trust me, those opportunities will come. God will work through you. God will create opportunities and things for you in your life. But right now, just focus on what you can do. Do everything that you can possibly do right now to the best of your ability and watch God work, right? But we gotta have a change of mindset when it comes to it. We have that level of patience, level of contentment, and a level of hard work and ethic. And sometimes it's gonna be good days and bad days when it comes to that. Like, not every day you're gonna be want to do this and things like that, right? But it's leaning on God. It's leaning on people that you have in your life that can pray with you, that can walk with you, and continue to encourage you to stick with it, right? Because this is something that we shouldn't be doing on our own. Nah, but it's gonna take a level of hard work. It's gonna have good days and bad days, and you realizing that, but you knowing that, like, look, I know if I continue to do this hard work and stuff like that, like, opportunity is gonna come for me. Like, I do know that when I work hard at this and do it as I'm doing it for God, that I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna build so much character, right? I'm gonna build patience and things like that to endure whatever the next thing comes. But I also know that God is working, and I'll get to a point at the right time. But I need to grind to get where I'm at right now. And I think we have this mindset. It really will help us throughout the rest and the course of our lives when we come to similar circumstances like we are in a situation right now. So just remember, even if you had a job you don't like, or you know you're still waiting for that promotion, or you're trying to get that business off the ground, or you know you even looking for a job, or school and things like that, just do the best you can do right now with the opportunity things that you have. Work your butt off. Do everything that you're doing and do it like you're doing it for God. Not show. Don't try to look the part. Don't try to post the part on social media, but do it with sincerity and honoring the Lord, right? Because you will receive something. God will help you. God will help you persevere. God will open some doors for you, right? And all we gotta do is just do our part and do it here. And then the thing is, He will be with us every step of the way. That's the beauty of it. It's not like He just telling you, all right, just deal with it. Be patient on your own, whatever. Like, I'll let you know. Nah. Like, He's there with you every step of the way. As long as you include Him. Sometimes we don't include God in a lot of stuff that we're doing. We try to create opportunities for our own selves. And then when things don't go our way, we get mad at God sometimes for it, and we can get mad at something we don't even include him in. Like we only include him in when it's not going the way, but you never include him first. You never say, "All right, Lord, what do you think about this?" Or "How do you think about this idea?" Like we don't even like half the time you don't even ask for his like even want to know his opinion, even though we really should be letting him take the driver's seat. Like, you know what, Lord, I want to do this. Like, what do you think? Like, I want to be on the same page with you because I know you ultimately know the right thing for me to do and the right will and things like that for my life to help me persevere and to help me get to that next level and to grow with the goals and things that I have. But a lot of the time we don't include God in it. Or if we do include him in it, we just telling them what it is. Like, oh yeah, God, I'm going to try this, da da da. You don't even care about his will or what he really matters until things don't go your way. Then you either get mad or now you want to include him when things are looking rocky, right? This is why another reason why we can also struggle with being able to do this. When ultimately we need to be not only telling him first about it, but ultimately letting his will prevail because he knows what's best for us more than we even know what's best for our own selves and trusting him and letting him take the driver's seat, which ultimately when we let him take the driver's seat, that's what takes a lot of pressure off of us and trying to make us create. I mean, and trying to put us in the driver's seat because ultimately there's things that's out of our control in this life. A lot of things are out of control in this life, and the sooner we realize that, not saying the easier it will be, but the better off we will be knowing that God will take care of the stuff that we can't take care of, and that we can take care of it. So, but you know, just wanted to leave you guys pretty much with all that stuff because I think it's something that we all struggle and deal with. Uh, as far as like when you're in that season of being patient and have to be content when things ain't moving and stuff like that. Like our work ethic, what we're doing it for, we could lose sight of why we do things. We could lose sight of our work ethic. Like, and I think us remembering, like, look, I'm doing this job. I'm being as proficient as I can be, not just because it's for my employer or whoever I'm doing it, but I'm also ultimately doing it for God because God even appoints these employers and things like that, right? Like he has involvement even with that. Like, look, man, like even though you're working for this person, as long as they're not like superly doing immoral things, like yeah, like you still need to show them the same respect because you work for them and you're under their authority and do the work like you're doing it for me, like you're honoring me. We need, and that will probably help us have the mentality to continue to keep going, to continue to persevere, to help us to be on our A game, to help us to have confidence and faith that no matter what situation I'm in right now, that God got me ultimately. But just remember, just think to yourself, what more can I do? What am I slacking at? What am I lagging? Right? Am I trying to make all this happen on my own terms? Am I trying to do everything on my own without ever including Christ or anything like that? Like, start thinking about that stuff. Because once you start to do this and start to realize it, this is just something that further gives you more tools later on throughout your life, in the course of your life, and the things that you go through as well. So remember, just do everything like you're doing it for the Lord. At work, business, all that stuff, doing it like you're doing it for God. So, but that's pretty much all I got for you today. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a quick devotion, quick in and out, boom, bam. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep reiterating the same points, but y'all pretty much get the drip. And we're staying equipped. This is part of it. So this is Equip the Podcast. We out. Have a great day, morning, evening, whenever you're listening to this, and stay blessed. Peace.